Lights, camera, action. Do you wonder how films are produced and what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stand by. Filmmakers Kevin Mumphrey, Victoria V.A. Jones, and Carson Hype Ferguson, local filmmakers talking about the world of film, right here on F It, We Will Fix It in Post podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Whenever you're listening, I thank you for doing so. I am Kevin Mumphrey, and this is F It, We Will Fix It in Post. I am here once again with my co-host, Victoria V.A. Jones.
What's going on?
And Carson Hype Ferguson.
Sure.
Today, I wanted to have a little conversation about the Oscars. The show has ended, the awards have been won, the speeches have been made, so there's no need to go and talk about all that. I wanted to talk about how we as a society looked at the Academy Awards. At one point, the Oscars used to be a glamorous event where we would see our favorite actors and actresses and directors show up on the red carpet with expensive suits and dresses. And we would all watch as these glamorous people sit and wait to see if they'll win the coveted Oscar. We would also see articles written and commentary given on predictions on who would win these Oscars. But in the last few years, TV ratings for the ceremony has declined steadily, at least since 2004, except for a spike in 2019. In 2020, the Oscars was seen in 13% of TV homes and drew just 23 million viewers on ABC, which made it the least watched Oscars ever. Viewership for 2020 fell around 20%, they believe, they said. So, and the decline was particularly known within younger audiences. Now, this past Oscars had the issue of having to remake and make changes on qualifying because of the lack of viewership in theaters due to the pandemic, which caused a huge opening for streaming services. But with growing complaints of lack of diversity, political speech, and young audiences who is getting more accustomed to watching movies at home rather than theaters, I start off by asking, is the Oscars losing their cultural cachet?
Yes. Like many other things. But it was on a slow decline anyway. And then COVID, just hit the treadmill on them.
Victoria, what do you think?
I mean, for right now it is, but it'll climb its way back up. I mean, a lot of people don't look at it because of diversity. And once you start putting diversity back in there and the nominees and everything else, then they'll pay more attention to it. You know what I'm saying? The Oscars are never going to go away. The award shows are never going to go away. They're going to always be here. It's like, but once you start showing people something different, then they'll pay more attention to it. I think people have gotten to the point where they're tired of seeing the same thing, tired of seeing the same people win every year. You know what I'm saying? So until we see that, then the ratings are always going to be low.
Yeah, I think it's like something within the production itself. Do you think it needs to be changed as far as like how it's shown?
No, because in my opinion, award shows are all the same. It's the same thing. Performances, awards, performances, and that's it. It's just you have to show something different within the skeleton of it. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, for me, not saying that it would completely go away. That'll never happen because the industry actually supports this because, professional awards, whether it be vanity or whatever, somebody's going to want that. But I don't think it's going to be as significant to the masses as it once was. I mean, because look at like patterns. Sports, for example, are not as high because a lot of kids aren't playing sports. They're playing Fortnite. I mean, look at Twitch and all these streaming services or whatever. That stuff is going up. These dudes are more famous than Will Smith is to these kids because that's the medium that they are in. So unless you could do something to integrate that to where they would actually care, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Like you doing something different. I mean, the award show, like I said, the award shows are the same. So when you start doing different things, you start incorporating different things into the award show, then that's when it'll change. So, you know,
So you brought up like streaming services because a lot of younger people do watch streaming services. Do you think they should almost like take it away from the ABC format and then just air it within a streaming service?
I don't think you're gonna get that audience though, because it's not gonna matter to them for the most part. And you know, this is coming from somebody that historically really hasn't watched that award show. Every now and again, I'll check for somebody here and there, or it's a cool story when I hear somebody that I support. Be like, oh, yo, that's cool. They won that. Good for them. But for the most part, I'm not sitting up there taking my time. And this is way before the whole film journey stuff. I almost never paid attention to that. Every now and again, it'd be a news blurb or something.
So you almost watch the Oscars the way maybe some people watch sports, just like for the highlights.
Like that's now. That's not before. Before it wasn't even really on my radar. I was like, if it was like on CNN or HLN or something like that, as a blurb, like one of those quick
Lower something at the bottom.
Yeah, lower third on the Chiron, or one of those in between stories, like the filler to get you to the next story.
Yeah,
that was pretty much it. That's the only way I heard about it. I was never looking for it. Now I consume a lot more media, and I'm paying attention to what's going on in the landscape or whatever. So I do pay attention a little bit more. And then every now and again, I go to the cesspool, which is Twitter, and see what's trending. And sometimes that'll be up there, and I'll get my news that way, if you call it that.
Now, do you think people kind of better, better just getting it from Twitter, just seeing people react from Twitter and watching it itself?
Twitter is horrible in that regard.
Oh, social media is horrible.
Twitter is even worse. I'm on there, and it's because certain controversial figures that are on there. Like now, it's almost entertainment, and I get more entertainment from watching the reactions of reactions than the actual news, if you call it that. Anyway,
you rather see the reaction of the story than the story itself.
Yeah,
I get it, because I'm on Twitter, but I'm not on there like that. So for sports, something happened, I go to Twitter after just to see what people say.
I've always treated Twitter like I was in a sports bar, and if I overheard a conversation, do I want to get in that? It's like double dutch.
That's a great way to describe Twitter.
Nah, I don't want to get in that.
It is a packed sports bar.
And now I go so far as I look at the person's profile to see if I want to respond to them, and I look at their last 3 tweets. Because, man, you can get down in the weeds with some people. For real.
It's actually a good. I saw somebody on TikTok make a joke and stuff, and somebody makes fun of me, but you see R.I.P. Grandma on their bio. He just goes, "I'm going to enjoy this." So I guess a lot of people do that. But Victoria, do you still enjoy watching the Oscars?
Oh, every year. That's just who I am. That's because I want one. So I'm gonna watch it every single year, and I'm gonna pay attention every single year. And when I watch it for certain reasons. You know what I'm saying? I might not know, but I know of a person that I like, that I want to see win. They might not win, but I'm watching and I'm rooting for them. But for me, it's the excitement of the fact of seeing these people win an award. They work hard. They win an award and they go up there and they pour out their emotions and stuff like that. For me, that's something that I enjoy watching, because I appreciate cinema and I appreciate the hard work that people put into their craft. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the Grammys. You know certain artists who have not made it yet. I know somebody who's an artist who they love watching the Grammys. You know what I'm saying? They're like, it makes you appreciate what you're doing a little bit more for yourself.
You know what's really funny about that? You mentioned the Grammys. I watched the Grammys a whole bunch, even before. Maybe it's because of the connection with music and such music and music videos, tough when I was younger. So I was more emotionally invested in that than any other thing. The MTV Music Awards, especially, I used to watch that
Right.
Or the MTV Award. I mean, anything could happen.
The VMAs, Kanye might come on stage and snatch your
That's not
award out your
happening.
hand.
That's not happening at the Oscars.
Yeah, they ain't gonna play that at the Oscars. But at Oscars, you know, the Tonys, Emmy
Oh,
Awards.
you can watch the Tonys.
Yeah, I watched all that. I watched all of that. Anything that had to do with the craft, I watched it. You know what I'm saying?
So is it kind of like you wanted to see someone like that? You want to see that moment of a person winning?
Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? The year Viola Davis won for all I think it was for The Help. You know what I'm saying? And
It was a great role for her.
And she was talking about how long she's been in Hollywood, and she's just now getting recognized for the things that she's done. For me, that's inspiring. So I watch those things and I see it, and for myself, I'm like, if she can do it, I know I can do it.
You know, something I take away from that too. It's like what they say. It takes 10 years for overnight success.
Yeah,
And then like Ryan Leslie, the music producer guy, whatever, he talked about that extensively. And I'm like, yo, you can't do it for the outside accolades. You got to do it because you want it.
right,
That's just a bonus.
right.
And I'm like, it's cool whenever somebody does get supported, but, you know, can't expect that though.
No, you're not gonna. You know, it's like flipping a coin. You know what I'm saying? You never know what side you're gonna get when you go into it. And at the same time, you know, like you said, you never paid attention to the Oscars. That's because that really wasn't your thing. You know, but when you look at somebody like me or somebody else who pay attention to that, you know, for me, it's everything to me. Watching those people who I grew up watching myself, or who I take it along as I appreciate them for what they do. So
what do you say? 10 years for overnight success. I heard someone say something similar like that. He said, "Look, the success doesn't come overnight, but when it happens,
It feels like
it feels like
well,
it.
to the outside world, not to the person going through it, because your journey's been however long it is.
Like, it's been like 10 years before you just found out about me. It took 2 years for you to just find out about me.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I was thinking of when you mentioned that, because I got a few friends that are still artists that they're still waiting on their big shot.
Look, in the words of the great artist 50 Cent,
oh Lord,
he's been patiently waiting. I was like, Get Rich or Die Trying was a great album. I just want to put that right there. You know, even though we're talking about film,
the movie was actually good too.
I thought it was a good movie.
it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't better than 8 Mile though.
Oh, you know,
can't really.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, I wouldn't compare the two movies. I was like, what do you think is a better story telling, like depicting closer to each one's lives, 8 Mile or Get Rich or Die Trying?
8 Mile.
8 Mile is just more of a relatable story.
Yeah.
You can take multiple lessons from it, and the average everyday person can relate more to 8 Mile than everybody ain't trying to be a rapper. But you could kind of take something off of the journey off 8 Mile, then
Because like he's doing that's what he's passionate about, but he's got to work.
exactly. He had to go to a warehouse.
Yeah, and it's like he won that battle, had to go right back to work.
Caught his girl cheating on him, and
right back to work.
and had to
Get beat up, go back to work.
your homeboy shoot himself in the.
Then at the end
Go
of the night,
right back to work.
At the end of the night, go to the trailer park.
His life is for an average everyday individual. But I saw somebody was talking about that film a few days ago. Actually,
I watched that film. Well, I watched the last 8 minutes of that film quite a bit. Still,
the battle.
yeah.
Just because of the whole.
I've never seen. Well, Crush Groove did a good job, but that's an older film. But I'm saying I never seen him catch the essence of a rap battle, because I used to watch all that freestyle stuff. I used to mixtapes. I used to sling mixtapes and like CDs and stuff like that, so I could afford all the new music and getting all this stuff. And I had a connection to homeboy's cousin's wife, now wife, was fiance, was like an A&R in Philly for some music company or something like that. So she used to get a bunch of stuff. So we used to get a lot of East Coast stuff.
And when I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of East Coast music. Not as much now, more West Coast. But so, do any of y'all know how to what's the eligibility requirements to get it to submit for an Oscar?
No, don't look at me. Kevin knows all that.
I don't.
Okay, so 'cause I think people think it's like a grotesquely hard. It's hard, but it's not at the same time. So, at least before the pandemic, the rules are you had to win at a Oscar. There are certain film festivals. If you win, your film is automatically eligible to be submitted for an Oscar. Or it has to be played at a theater for 7 days in Los Angeles or New York. I think there's a few other cities, but the main
theater.
two. In
those two
paying,
cities.
At a paying theater for 7 days. And it can be submitted. There are other cities. I'm pretty sure Miami's one of them. I'm not sure. But the main two cities has to be at a paying theater, LA, New York.
So like you can go to the $2 theater and say, "Hey, can you play my film?"
If they play it for 7 days,
oh, look at that.
you can submit it. But because of the pandemic and the lack of people going to theaters, it made a vast opening for streaming services, to where you kind of see a little difference and diversity in this past Oscars.
Right.
Films like that was on Hulu about Billie Holiday.
Right.
I don't know if she'd have been nominated if that film wasn't on well, if it was in theater, if it was in theater, I think she still would have been nominated. But it was made specifically for Hulu. So
But the streaming services have a connection with most of the film festivals, so they can. I mean, a lot of times they win awards anyway before they go to the streaming service.
they do, but there's also there's also been a bit of a pushback for like Netflix's and Hulu's. So it's always been a big push or whatever. But because of this year, there's a lot more diversity. Like, how many directors were nominated? There were women?
Like 2 or 3 of them.
2 or 3, and I don't think it's ever happened before.
Yeah, in the past there's been, I think, a woman like won in a category.
Well, didn't old girl win for Hurt Locker?
No, not for director.
She won a number of awards though, didn't she, that year? Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but I don't think. As far as the director category, I don't think for director though.
Okay. I remember her winning like a bunch of awards.
Yeah.
I thought it was a well put together film,
Yeah.
but it wasn't realistic in certain aspects, because I'm like, you ain't gonna be out there by yourself. Not EOD. Mm-mm. I know some of them dudes. Nah, you ain't being out there by yourself.
And just actors of color, there's like more. I think there's like an unprecedented amount of actors of color.
It's more diverse now, but it's still at a very slow climb. This is not it can be more diverse than what it is now for what awards are. You know what I'm saying? But they're just now starting to do this. And how this is like the 90th something Oscars.
93rd or
93rd Oscars, and they're
94th,
just
I think.
now getting to the diverse part. And I'm just not talking about black. I'm talking about of all of all other of.
Yeah, but isn't that a lagging indicator though? Like the award show is always a lagging indicator of whatever the cultures are doing at the time.
Yeah, but
And then they're kind of archaic in certain elements. And I understand some parts of it, but who's in charge? It's probably really, really old people that've been there for a long time.
right, and that's changing. That's changing also. So you got to look at all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was, it's certain movies that have won in the past that I shouldn't. I thought that they shouldn't have won over other ones, and that's not even me being a black artist. That's just me looking at the story and looking at at what it is, and like, how did that person win over this other person type deal. So,
Well, I mean, I look at that. I look at that the exact same way in a lot of aspects. Because, like, look at even like Rotten Tomatoes. The critics will do one thing, and the audience will be all the way over here.
Yeah.
And I'm typically gonna go with the audience versus the critics.
yeah, yes and no for me, because some audiences are, not all of them, but some people are blind to certain things, and they look at something and they be, oh, that ain't right, because of their blindness. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but when I do that, typically it's over one of those, like, hey, let's just watch car crashes for 2 hours. One of those kind of films. You know, it's nothing critical. I'm not
Yeah.
I need a little bit more substance, and I typically go with certain directors or something like that or whatever, or something's low on the radar. Like, a particular friend gives me a recommendation, not the guy that's like, oh, it's great, and you be like, that was terrible, that was trash. How dare you waste my time like that? You owe me money, sir.
Well, yeah, that's one of a point I wanted to get to, because at the end of the day, it's all subjective. Whereas the movie, the Judas and the Black Messiah, may affect me one way. A person who's voting, it didn't hit them the same way.
Right.
They may hear whatever else is out there that they like. Because you ever see you'll see these certain movies at the Oscars. You've never even heard of it, but suddenly it's nominated for an Oscar.
But then at the same time, if I've never heard of it and I go back and I watch, that's another reason why I like to watch the Oscars, because movies I've never heard of, I'll go back and I'll watch them. And I'll be like, now I understand why they won it.
Well, you remember when Blockbuster is a thing? They always had like the Oscar.
You're not going to have me show my age.
They had they had certain deals. Like, even Netflix did it. Like a lot of the different places online, they'd be like, yeah, Oscar winners, and you see that because they were advertised, and you'd be like,
Yeah,
could I see myself watching this? And it'd be like typically 2 out of the 10 movies.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, you know what, that actually looks good. I like, what happened? And you know, you have certain places in your life, or whatever, where it's almost like you're in a bubble, to where certain stuff you just, I don't know, just didn't catch it or whatever. I don't know.
I that was always a hindrance for me, because I always felt like a more of a business move. Because it's like, oh, if I can get this, like a marketing play of sorts. And I think for other people, it may be a bit of a turnoff, because like, I never saw this movie, and now, oh, it's won all these awards, and now I've got E! News talking about it, being interviewed everywhere. So I'm getting this big push to watch this film, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching it.
I'm that way. I'm that way when it comes to a lot of people looking at something. That's just like Game of Thrones. I watched Game of Thrones when it first came out, but it I didn't like it, not because it wasn't good. It was just, it showed all these sex scenes, and I'm like, is this a porno or is this a TV show?
Well, I mean
it was on HBO.
Well, that's
I mean, but that ain't in my forte. Like, I'm like,
that's easy though. Like, that's the reason why they do it, because it's easy.
But at the same time, you know, people started jumping on the train of Game of Thrones, and they were like, well, it's not like that anymore. But I still didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
It still wasn't on my radar. And everybody was watching it. Everybody was on it. And I'm like,
you know, I never watched Game of Thrones. And until, say, case in point, Sons of Anarchy, like, I watched that, and I want to say the last 2 seasons, and I haven't finished the last season. I got about halfway through, and I was like, man, I cannot do it anymore, man. And I know I'm about to make somebody angry. I was
You didn't like the last season?
I was like, man, it's too much. It was just so over the top, way too much. It felt like Days of Our Lives.
I can see that. I love the last episode. Like the last season, it felt like they kind of dumped. It just felt up and down, And
I'm just like, man, and don't get me wrong. they set up the story or whatever. I used to not be able to articulate it very well. I'd be like, oh, it's lacking realism. And you'd be like, what? It's a fantasy show. Like, if you shoot somebody in the middle of the street with all these witnesses, you going to jail. Unless you live in a certain type of neighborhood where,
or a very small town.
yeah. I'm like, but at the same time, you set up this universe and you don't obey its rules. So you're violating the rules within the universe. Even stuff that's based in realism doesn't have to always be fantasy. It's where it's like, nah, that wouldn't happen even there.
Create a universe and don't obey its rules. Interesting way of wording that.
I mean, that's what you're doing whenever you're doing any kind of fiction work or any kind of writing. You're creating a world. Especially now where everybody's talking about sequels and all this other stuff. Shout out to Houston Nutt. He's got a book talks about that. He talks about like if your story's like so small that you need to create a bigger story. Think Star Wars. Not everybody can do that, but you're just like, okay, if I'm thinking like multiple franchises or whatever, Saw, anything like that.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah. It has
it will
to
outlive us all.
Yeah, it has to be bigger.
But there's a point where it gets too big.
Yeah.
Or it just gets tiring, and it's just to the point to where you need to stop. It's too much.
Oh, I want to say on that Judas film, I still haven't seen that, man. I'm gonna have to check that out. Like, I wanted to look at it last weekend, but I was running out of time on something I was doing. But shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson. He's an African studies professor, and he talks about the film. He talks about it. He's like, hey, how accurate was it? He said, as far as production, it was actually pretty decent. They got this, but you can't put everything in there. And I was like, okay, all right.
I thought the acting was great in it. The one thing as far as the Oscars that I thought was strange about it, so both of the actors, they're nominated for like supporting actors, but it's like and I'm like, okay, well, which one was the lead actor? So they got them both as a supporting actor, but there's like no, because you would assume who the lead actor was, but they have him nominated as a supporting actor.
Well, isn't the guy that played the snitch the lead actor?
See, that's the thing. It's
because
some people
the
think
some people centered around him, correct?
Yes, and it's also people feel that it's centered about. I keep forgetting the name, the actor's name.
Which character did he play?
Frank Hampton. Did I get the name right?
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, yes. Because I keep thinking the singer. But yeah, so I think that's the main character. So it's like they can't really define who's the lead.
I don't think they watched that film then. Because, I mean, like, I haven't watched the film, and it's told through the guy that was the informant, the snitch. It's told through his eyes.
If you ever look at conversation, it's debatable. So it's like, I'm like, one of these could have gotten a lead actor nomination. I mean, I'd rather you've picked one and then just let us debate it, and it creates conversation. I'm like, both of them being supporting actors. They just, I've never seen a situation like that before. But anyway, before we head out, I thought it'd be a good little fun to guess what's
a little fun.
Yeah. So you might want to take a guess who you think will win Best Picture.
Best Picture. Hold on, let me see.
You might as well name the nominees because I don't know.
So there's one is Sounds of Metal, Mank, Promising Young Woman. I've heard of that one. I just haven't seen it yet. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Trial of the Chicago 7, Nomadland.
You know what? I'm going for Nomadland.
I think I want Judas and the Black Messiah to win. I think Nomadland is going to win.
I think Sounds of Metal is going to win. I haven't seen that movie, but that's actually my watch list.
No Man's Land is on my watch list too. To be real with you, I love that actress, the lead actress in that. So that's on my list, but that's who I'm going for.
All right, who you all have for best actor? Which I'm surprised Anthony Hopkins is in this. I shouldn't be, but
For what?
best actor,
Yeah, but
For what film?
performance?
The Father,
Nah, I haven't seen it, so
Rich Armand, Sounds of Metal. I'm not sure if I said his name right. Steven Yeun for Minyari.
They're gonna give it to Chad.
I feel like they're gonna give it to Chad too. I hope I'm right. Even Gary Oldman is in it. He's nominated for it, but I feel either Anthony Hopkins gonna get it or Chadwick. And now, the one I'm probably most interested in is Best Actress.
They're watch they give it to
Viola, the safe pick.
I know I wasn't even gonna say her. I wasn't even. Gonna
I know
say
you
her.
wouldn't, but I just need to
I wasn't even gonna say her.
because
I wasn't even gonna say Andrea Day. I wasn't even gonna say that.
I don't. I would love to see her win. I don't think.
I'm thinking they're gonna go with Frances.
Really.
Yeah.
No, man. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would be rather surprised. I feel like they're gonna go with Viola. Just 'cause
They might. They might because if you have not seen that movie, it is actually a good movie, and it's a role that she had to step out of and be somebody else completely. It's a role that you would have never thought that she would type of role that she would play.
And I mean, she does it very well. Like, isn't that something I would want to watch twice? But then
Nah.
again, how many
there's very few.
films that wins Oscars that you kind of want to see over and over?
Forrest Gump.
It's one.
Okay.
I mean, I have a couple. I do have a couple
I mean,
that I watch all the time.
And it's more for nostalgic purposes. And it reminds me of how much I hate Jenny. But
Yeah, Jenny was horrible. Jenny was trash.
well, complete trash. And watching that as an adult, she's twice as trash
Yeah,
as she was when I saw that as a kid.
yeah, Jenny's trash. And then like that CGI on that balloon at the beginning, that's crazy.
And that was what? Mid 90s?
Yeah, something like that. You know, it's really funny. Like a lot of Tom Hanks movies. Like I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I remember this part. And I'll go so long before like watching the film,
Right.
and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this part right here. It's about to come up next. And I'll sit down and before you know it, the credits rolling. I'm like, I don't watch this damn movie again. Damn, got me.
So I just realized. So like for best supporting actor, literally three out of 5 are black.
That means somebody black might win. Shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Man, they giving it to Sacha Baron Cohen.
And that's
For
another
the dictator.
No, for the trial of Chicago 7.
Oh,
But that was a good movie though.
He was,
That was a good movie.
and I didn't even know he was like going to be in the movie. So I was surprised when I saw him. He did pretty well. I think they're gonna give that to Sacha.
But that's going back to diversity in these award shows. All three of us are not keen on seeing we don't expect the black people to win is what I'm trying to say.
it depends. Like if I see Denzel up for an award, I expect him to. Take
I
it.
expected Jamie Foxx to win for Ray.
Yeah,
That was probably like the strongest. I was like, nah, he's getting it.
that was good. I mean, like
Yeah.
that undeniably good.
And then you gotta remember like how we viewed Jamie Foxx before Ray. It was like when he's like, so Jamie Foxx is playing Ray Charles. Huh?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx show. Like even I know some people like still criticize it, but I thought Will Smith did a good job as Ali.
I thought he did great on it too. I didn't realize we were getting criticized for it.
Yeah, some people are like, because Ali's the greatest or whatever. And then Jamie Foxx playing Spoondini or
Yeah.
Spondini, the hype man. Like there's a lot of dark stuff in that too. Like when he went to the hotel room, my man was like on the drugs, and I was like, dang, they put that in here.
I think
mean, it got to be real. You know,
I was surprised they didn't have to go. They didn't have to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
Because like that doesn't really show you any more of Ali's side so much. You know, I mean, it was a different facet.
And didn't Ali have saying in that movie too? Didn't he have?
Like
I don't know.
the actual Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
They wouldn't. No, he didn't. We would have known if he did.
I know. Another Will Smith movie where Pursuit of Happiness. Eric Gardner made an appearance at the end of the movie. He walked past him. Will Smith walks and then he walks behind them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh look, that's old boy.
Yeah.
It's like because I've seen him before, like watching like CNBC or something like that and financial stuff. So I know his face. Seen him on books.
I think that's easier to do with someone like him rather than Muhammad Ali. Which if there's because I haven't heard the criticism of Will Smith playing it, but I think it's like there's certain people they carry such an aura about them you can't mimic it.
Yeah, I mean like it was like that at the time, but when the movie was coming out. Now after the fact, when everybody saw how good a job he did, that died down.
So you mean
the criticism was before the movie came out?
Yeah, it was like.
It was the same as like a Jamie Foxx. Like you just. And I mean, he's somewhat. I think Will Smith somewhat stepped into those roles before then. I don't think it was such a role as Jamie Foxx. As Muhammad Ali.
I think that was like probably the most critical like role, at least that year, of somebody playing somebody else.
I can see it. Like Muhammad Ali,
I mean, because
there's just certain people like with the Tupac movie. Like I knew whoever they picked to play that, you're not going to capture what the actual Tupac was. You can just maybe nibble around it.
And then most people have their ideal of Tupac anyway. So that like people that lived at that time was like, man, whatever. They smack their teeth at you.
Yeah, so
they'd be like that ain't happened. Like I remember what happened. That didn't happen like this. That didn't happen like this. I actually was listening to a Tupac interview, like right when he was going on trial for that one case.
You mean the one when he was out, like he was outside and talking to everyone?
Yeah, to the reporters.
Yeah,
he was like right outside the courtroom.
Oh yeah, that's an iconic interview.
I'm like, man. And he's like my character, or what they believe is my character's on like being assassinated right now because I got tattoos and this, and I'm like, man.
That was a very smart, thought-provoking brother. But
yeah,
before I end this, I wanted to ask both of you. So, Victoria, do you have you ever like thought of your Oscar speech? Have you ever won one?
Oh yeah, I say it all the time to myself, but I guarantee if I ever win one, it ain't how it's gonna go when I get up there. I can picture myself literally like standing up there and saying some Memphis stuff. I could picture myself doing that. I don't want to.
You gonna be like 3-6?
I'm gonna be just like no, not like that.
Thank you, George Clooney.
But I can picture
Shout
myself.
out to the homies. Nah, I mean,
I can picture myself saying something like "What's up 901," or I can picture myself saying shouting out a zip code or saying "Hey man." I can picture myself saying this.
Hey
shit.
man, y'all ain't gonna believe this.
Or literally, I can picture myself being up there saying "Hey man, say man." I can see that, and they gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Like
Carson,
you just did.
You got
like
a speech in mind?
Be crazy.
No, I mean any speech, whatever. Because it's only.
No, I mean you got one. Like if you won an Oscar,
I'm saying any prominent speech or whatever. I'll be like, yo, I really appreciated the one that Don Cheadle did for Hotel Rwanda, and in the Matthew McConaughey one, where he is basically turned into a motivational speech.
He was up there for a long time.
I'm
did
surprised.
they put the music on him?
No, they
like,
did not. He was up there for a long time.
I'm like, man, like I cannot believe it was like 8 minutes long.
Yeah, it was long.
Yeah, normally they give you the Apollo treatment.
Yeah,
like for real.
It's a very polite Apollo treatment.
But at the same time, I will say this: I do think that they give certain categories a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I think they give best actress a certain amount of time. They get longer, and the best actor, I think they give them the longest because they're up there the longest. I know that's crappy, but I think that's how they do it.
Shout out to Bill Burr messing up them Latino names that last award show.
Oh, he did.
Yo, that was tragic. He's like, I'm losing so much money.
Anyway, I already know my speech will just be, look, I haven't gotten drunk in a long time. I deserve it tonight.
You know.
No, hey man, say man.
Nah, that's after I'm drunk. You know, like those backstage interviews they do afterwards?
Yeah.
Now, those going to be the drunk interviews. Nah, put that camera over here, dog.
Be like,
Bro, this one go for South Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Say what?
Be like,
Don't worry about it. They know. They know. No, don't go nowhere. Bring the camera back here.
turn around, throw up a set.
Hey,
I ain't going that far.
I ain't going that far. I got enough class about myself not to do that.
Be like, yo, I'm from the north side. Y'all heard me.
Unless I become like the angry drunk.
Y'all heard me.
Bro, bring them cameras over here, dog.
Oh man.
And then I'm on TMZ getting arrested.
I'd be like, you know what? I'd probably be like, I always imagine this being something different. But as I'm here in the moment, I wanna just express gratitude for all those who helped me along my way on my journey.
That's a good good speech.
That sounds great. I hope I'm not behind you when you're doing it. Bro, hurry up. Ain't nobody trying to hit it, bro.
And I'll be right behind you. Hey man. Hey man, we ain't got time for all that. Hey, what I want to say is that everybody know we finna go back to Memphis 901. What's up?
And then after that, after I said that, I'll be like, man, I always admired Barry Sanders for after he scored a touchdown, he threw the football off like he'd been there before. But man, we about to turn. Then you go that, and you be like, all right, let me bring myself down. Be like, yeah, appreciate you.
Can you imagine? Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, if I ever want to know, I don't care if it's an Emmy, Oscar, I don't give a damn. Can you just imagine them backstage interviews? Because I will be complete. I don't care how old I am. I'm drunk. I'm getting drunk. They try to come up to me and they trying to interview me.
You're going to be like Kanye with the brown liquor.
No, I won't even be like that. I'm going to be loud. Unless somebody else say something to me that's rude or try to say, well, oh, you good. It's over with.
Excuse you.
Let somebody say something the wrong tone after that.
Excuse you.
Man, hold on. Hold my Oscar. What'd you say? No, say it again. Say it again.
Hey, let me take my cufflinks out.
Hold this for me, bro. They must forgot what South Memphis means. Anyway. Now that we've taken this on a hood turn, I guess we should end it here.
We should.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. And this is F*** It. We will fix it in post.